My name's Peter Sidwell and I'm a brand ambassador for California Prunes. Now, I was invited to go to London and visit Paul A. Young, another fellow brand ambassador, and we got to talk all things California Prunes, chocolate and his business. So you use all four, so the four methods of California Prunes, you use the whole prune, you use the chopped prunes, and you use the puree. And how do you use the syrup?
The syrup's interesting because it is a concentrate, but there's nothing else in it. So it's like molasses, and I can dilute it with water and then make a ganache from that to get natural sweetness and depth of flavour. But also you can substitute some of the sugar or other ingredients for the liquid in a caramel. So it becomes a liquid in its own right to make a ganache, to make a caramel, to make a filling. And it also adds incredible flavour. One of the recipes, my last chocolate I did actually in the last collection, was a prune and custard truffle, which was a layer of just syrup, because there's no reason to dilute it or change it. Then a lovely vanilla-y custard ganache. And the two layers, that came from my childhood prunes and custard at school, which I did not like because the prunes were stewed to the point where they didn't have any texture. But this flavour of sweet vanilla and the prune is just incredible.
I think that vanilla and prune, it's a synergy, isn't it?
It's sweet and vanilla.
It's one of those natural.
And then the chocolate was a yellow-white chocolate on the outside, like the custardy bit and the dark chocolate. So the balance was still a bit of bittersweetness, bit of sugariness, bit of vanilla, and then the deep prune.
So what we haven't talked about is the prune powder. Is that a product that you are using, going to use? If so, how do you, in your mind, think?
I'm not using it yet, but I will be, because we can powder coat chocolate. You can add it straight into neat chocolate, melted chocolate, without it affecting the chocolate. So adding flavour and texture. But also you could coat and roll an entire truffle in it. So the instant flavour on the tongue is that concentrated prune taste. And I'll be playing with that a lot, because you can then enrobe something in the powder, like if you toast a nut, and then put.
So you introduce dry to dry, which
and then coat in chocolate.
Adds a dimension, doesn't it?
And so there's a lot of playing to do with that.
Yeah, I'll be playing too. I've got some in my kitchen.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So you've been very lucky enough to actually go to Source.
I know.
Over to California.
I know, the Mecca.
And actually, and actually see it come off the tree. A prune. Surprise, surprise. It's a plum.
It's a plum, yeah.
So tell me about that trip.
It was a fantastic trip. It was in May 2017. Very hot, lovely. I mean, we saw two sides. A smaller producer, organic producer, family business, which was every detail of the plantation, the prunes being stored, how they're graded, how the whole thing, and how they look. Some are really tiny and dense, some are bigger. The machine that pits them to get that stone out immaculately, like without ripping and tearing the prune, and how different they taste.
Is it a bit like one, how you get an olive stone out of it?
There are two ways. One way is where it's kind of pressed out and it pushes it, like it kind of
extrudes it almost,
rips it out a little bit in a way. And then another company, Sunsweet, which is a bigger company. I think it's their birthday last year. They've developed their own machine in-house, which gives you the characteristic California prune shape, which is like a flying saucer, a disc. That's pressed it down, looks like a donut, and the stone has come up through the middle without any tearing at all, and it just constantly does it. I mean, that's mesmerising in itself. That's their unique selling point, how the stone is taken out. But also how they're using it, they're chopping it up and enrobing in chocolate to have little prune snacks. And the prune puree, drinks are big, prune drinks. We have the prune juice here, but it's very big in California. So it's fascinating.
How would they drink it?
Neat. Just as it is.
Over ice sort of thing, and that's it.
Exactly, every day. And I think it's because they're grown in California, there's a lot of focus around it. It's all sunshiny California raisiny. I mean, as a kid I remember California raisins, and then as I grew up, California prunes, both from hot sunshiny places. But it was fascinating to see the two sides of the factory. One which was right on the plantation, which I love about cacao as well. You're on the plantation and seeing it being done next to it, and the vast scale. So when the guys were saying this is a small farm, and the farm is the size of the UK. You then realise how tiny we are. And I took Nick, my production manager, and we went, how can a farm be the size of the UK? Or even the size of Wales? Something like that, which is huge to us, maybe small to them. It was brilliant. It did give us a lot of ideas. It did show us how passionate the grower is. It's not just we're growing it and it gets processed and it disappears. Processing is so slight. If you imagine it's pulled in and dried.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So it's a very delicate product, which is why you have to, really, really respectful of it as an ingredient, I think.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't been tampered with at all.
Yeah, it's quite a pure product, isn't it? Really?
Very pure product. And the funny thing is, I absolutely cannot eat a plum.
Really?
Hate plums. Don't like plums at all. But I can eat prunes. And I think for me it's the concentrated texture and flavour.
Did you eat one fresh off the tree as a plum?
No, but they were still green.
Right.
This is really odd as well. They were completely green, so we cut into it. It was still totally unripe.
Yeah.
But in the huge wooden crates, which when you walked in, they were floor to ceiling. You've got to imagine huge scale. It smelt like a vineyard. It smelt like walking inside a Christmas pudding. It was dried fruit. It was that smell of dried fruit.
Yeah.
And it was intoxicating. It was like smelling of the inside of a red wine barrel when it's empty.
I've never been inside one of those.
I'll put my head in.
Is that another story?
That's another one. Put your head in. Only once, anyway. And you have that smell of...
Yeah.
But it must be like those wooden boxes must have some flavour within them when they get refilled every time.
Yeah.
But we did try one that was dried, still with the stone in, and really small. And it was like toffee. You had to kind of bite the fruit away from the stone, which was beautiful. Not usable as a chef like that.
So obviously you've given us a real kind of insight into how you use cut prunes, where they've come from. You've got a very rounded sort of awareness of this sort of product. What's coming next?
Give us a
little insight.
Well, next for me, I'm working on Christmas and Easter next year. And
so we're now in April, and you're looking at Christmas.
Christmas has to be done
and
this month.
Easter next year.
Easter's nearly done.
Wow.
We have to because we need to do the most important thing is shelf life testing.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that if I take a prune, the chopped, the puree, or the syrup, that if I put it in a product, it's automatically going to get the right shelf life that I'm looking for, or that the flavour isn't going to change over time, or that it isn't going to go mouldy maybe. So every single thing has to be made well in advance so we can check that it doesn't change.
So a lot of MPD work.
A lot. And also just for inspiration as well, it's sometimes good to do Christmas when you're closer to it. We are closer to Christmas than we are to the one coming.
A little bit, yeah.
So it's still in the back of our heads. So that helps a little bit when you've still got a bit of a nip in the air.
Yeah.
And you can create those products that are based around that. But some products I'll be doing right now for now. The beauty of having production on site of our shops, so our supply chain is 3 metres up the stairs, is that even from our discussion now, I might go back to the kitchen tomorrow, create something and have it in the shop the next day.
Yeah.
So sometimes that does happen, and it should with exciting ingredients. You want to be able to do that. So some planning is immediate and some is long term. But also then having the time to, sometimes having the time to look at the product and go, well, what haven't I done? How can I push it a bit further without trying too hard, without it being contrived, and without it being a gimmick?
Yeah.
Those 3 things I have in the front of my head all the time. There's no point making it something so past what it is just to make it popular
for the sake of it. Yeah.
And that you can overdevelop. It's very easy to overdevelop something, as you probably know. You sometimes have to stop,
I think sometimes it's what you don't do to a product is better than what you do. Sometimes. Yeah. But thank you very much for your time. Absolutely loved coming to see you cook.
It's a pleasure.
Make chocolate
it's nice
in
to
your
show
home.
off an ingredient that I'm proud of.
Yeah, no, and it's been really great. So thank you very much for your time. And I'm excited to see. I have had a little taste of something that's coming, which is very exciting.
You
do like that chocolate.
You can mention it.
Can I? The harissa chocolate.
I've got harissa. It's prune harissa.
Prune and harissa chocolate. Try it. It'll blow your mind.
It's coming.
It is. When?
About 2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3.
2 or 3. I'm saying 2 or 3.
You're not committing, are you?
Well, we're still in tasting stage.
Right.
And as soon as I'm happy that after...
so how far off what I've tried are we off the final product?
1 more week. And if the flavour hasn't changed, if the prune syrup that I've used in there still is that holds the flavour and carries all those spices, and I'm happy with it, then we'll give it a tick. And it will... I'll give it to the team to taste. We'll taste it from day 1 right up to day 14 and just make sure that it's improved and not diminished. But the great thing about the syrup and the puree is that it holds. Things don't migrate out of it.
It's a really good stabiliser, isn't it? Well, look. If you enjoyed this interview and you want to learn more about California prunes, how you might be able to integrate them into your business, into your products, how they can perform, just get in touch via the website californiaprunes.co.uk and we'll see if we can help.